My sister has mistaken me for a mushroom. She keeps me in the dark and feeds me poop. This line comes from Tyrion Lannister, the greatest literary character of all time, from the hit HBO series Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is a fantasy show based off of the works of author George R.R. Martin. The source material, A Song of Ice and Fire, is far from your usual fantasy story. Long are the days of hobbits and wizards, replaced with harsh political intrigue, gruesome violence, and deep mysteries. The series itself, although unfinished, is the greatest story ever told in the history of humanity. None rival George R.R. Martin in prose, storytelling, or characters. Martin himself, some have theorized, has been touched by God, writing with a hand directed by divine inspiration. Others believe this to be a flimsy theory, as Martin himself is a staunch atheist. The show itself is next to blasphemy, as it destroyed the greatest story of all time. Some have theorized that Chuckleheads David Benioff and Dan Weiss have been granted a special room in hell only 2 doors down from Satan himself. Their room, Satan said in a deleted scene from the 8th season of the show, is barbed with the fiercest of Reddit posts. My favorite, flaming them for eternity for Dany forgetting about the Iron Fleet. Literally, those guys are the worst. Will Dave and Dan be sent to hell? The show is over and done with, but in the books, their story is not over. In a game of a clash of storm of a feast with dragons, after the capture of Winterfell by Ramsay and Roose Bolton, we read of 2 skinned men laying in the dungeon. Are they, Reek squeaked, are they Dan Weiss and David Benioff, my lord? Parting wet, fishy lips, Ramsay replied with a single word. Yes. We never hear about these characters again, but some have theorized that they may actually be the ghost in Winterfell that Theon comes across in A Dance with Dragons. These 2 characters have very little impact on the story, but in the end, they may be the key to defeating the others. In the same chapter, we get a reference to Tyrion Lannister. Reek came to, sweating. Sucking the phlegm from his shattered teeth and wincing, he thought, "Man, do I wish I was the imp, Tyrion Lannister. That dude is hung." This is a reference to Tyrion Lannister, the aforementioned greatest character literature has ever seen. From his quips and deep insight, even the greatest literary heroes would be roasted hard at his hand. Not to mention the man's incredible sexual prowess. The depths of his character know no bounds, as he captures the hearts and minds of those of the people who read him. Even at his worst, we all still love him. One of the greatest aspects of the books is their immaculate complexity. Among fiction, A Song of Ice and Fire contains the greatest and most in-depth plots ever put to page. Martin, having been a long-time player of fourth-dimensional chess, has laid the groundwork for each character a century in advance, making each person more real than even the realest human in our own world. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States and a pioneer of civil rights, would simply be reduced to another neck-bearded incel under Tyrion's mockery. In his famous Gettysburg Address, Lincoln stated that, "67 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. But me, my friends, I am no equal to that of Tyrion Lannister." Tyrion's story is far from happy. Having lived a life of opulent splendor, unlimited financial power, and possessing an unnaturally large member, Tyrion's story is one of grief and doom. Being born a dwarf, it is clear that there is much more to Tyrion as a person. YouTuber Preston Jacobs believes that Abraham Lincoln may be alive within the story, as Tyrion fails to ever see his body. Could it be, in death, Abraham Lincoln was reborn as Tyrion within the story? In the final pages of A Dream of Spring, will it inevitably come to pass that Tyrion will lead the Targaryen civil war with Daenerys fighting against young Griff? We already know that Tyrion is the son of Daenerys and Drogo, with his fetus having traveled through time to the womb of Joanna Lannister. But could it be that he absorbed Lincoln's soul on the way? The final piece of evidence is found within the pink letter. Written in a long, flowing hand at the bottom, Jon reads, "Did you know, Jon, that Tyrion Lannister is the reincarnation of Abraham Lincoln? Come, bastard, and I shall show you it's true." We can never be sure until the next tomes are released, but it is possible that Tyrion will be revealed as Lincoln, emancipating the others of their hold on Westeros, adding another layer of intrigue and complexity to the story of A Song of Ice and Fire. In the end, George R.R. Martin has crafted something akin to ambrosia for our minds and shall go down in history as the savior of humanity. Thank you all so much for watching. Today's video is dedicated to all the A Song of Ice and Fire content creators out there who have entertained me for hours on end. But overall, A Song of Ice and Fire is one of my obsessions in this world, and I have spent many hours of my life watching and listening to theory videos, so thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Subscribe for some real A Song of Ice and Fire content if you'd like to see more. Alright, bye.